For 1 full year, no one wanted to hire me. This version of the portfolio was actually working for me because I started getting calls. Then when they interviewed me, the only thing I kept hearing over and over and over again is, your first portfolio is probably gonna be the worst and most depressing step of your career. You don't have any real projects. Confidence is at all-time low. And also, I feel that all the projects from your course or studies, they all look the same. But fear not. In this video, I'll share my story of how I went from being a junior designer that couldn't find a job for 1 year to working at one of the most loved workplaces. I'm gonna review my portfolios along the way and also give you tips. So let's start. The first and a very important tip I can give you is to treat your portfolio like an actual product. I'm gonna show you my first ever portfolio. I want to show you this because nothing was interesting about it. Like, it didn't have any movement. It looked like any other mediocre junior designer portfolio. I just put everything together, wrapped it up in a bow, and I was like, okay, done. I worked so hard on my portfolio, so where's all my suitors? I'm waiting for my dream job. And it's not really the case. And I'll get to which projects I put in my portfolio in just a second. I do want to say I finished my UX course in the beginning of COVID, when everyone was still panicking, people were laid off. So not only I was a junior, also no one was really hiring at this point. I was struggling. I didn't really know what to do. And when your product is struggling, the only thing you can do is to iterate. And I'm gonna show you my second version in a portfolio. First of all, my homepage was now much more interesting and intricate. I had colors, it was fun, it was groovy, it had personality. I showed 3 projects. The first one was called Blended. It was an app to make you look amazing. I'm actually really proud of this idea, but I don't think that the execution was good. When I say that everything sounds the same, is like the challenge, the persona, the solution brainstorm. Everything feels very repetitive. When you just finish a course, you just don't know what to do. I actually really love the persona posters I did. I wanted to use it as like the marketing campaign. I had big ambitions for this project. I didn't even know what I was doing at this point. Like the user flow, unless it's really important to explain my point, I'm not sure I would even put it in a project. The final design is actually really, really cool. Okay, let's go. This is the first one. Listen, don't laugh. I haven't watched this in ages. Basically, what the product was supposed to be is that I look at the camera of the computer and I have all the UI like overlaid on what the camera sees. And basically, it teaches me how to put on my makeup according to my face. The idea is really good. It's just, first of all, the UI, the font. I don't like it, but the music was by my ex, by the way. Shout out. Thank you for the music. So that was the first project. The second one was actually my favorite one. I called it Freizeit, which means like free time. And it's basically a calendar app that allows you to get smarter on your free time. Again, how I built the case study was like challenge, persona, blah, blah, blah. This is my persona. And then like possible solution, the final design with all the screens. I have a prototype for that one as well. This is a bit shorter. I mean, it was good enough. It was good enough to get my portfolio. And then the third project was like the only real one. I worked there for 3 years. So I was like the only graphic designer, marketing designer, UI designer, everything all at once. So I did the catalog. And so I did have like nice things to show. This version of the portfolio was actually working for me because I started getting calls. But then when they interviewed me, the only thing I kept hearing over and over and over again is, you don't have enough experience, call us next year. And this entire paradox of no one wants to hire someone unexperienced, but also no one wants to give experience. It's like a catch-22 that, to be honest, I think is a huge pain point in the industry that we're in. And for 1 full year, no one wanted to hire me because I didn't have enough experience. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get my own clients. And in my opinion, the easiest area to kind of start rolling that ball was to get into web design. First of all, everyone needs a website. I even designed a website for my dad. And second of all, it's very visual that even when your UX skills aren't that good enough, you can really make a good impact if you make everything like wow. That's, I guess, is my next tip. Get into web design just to get the ball rolling. I decided that I want to do both web design and branding and kind of sell the entire package. I started with friends and then it was like an ear to mouth kind of thing. I called myself the 78 Studio. One of the projects that I was really proud of, that's an Israeli company, so everything is going to be in Hebrew, but it was called Pet ID and I did everything here, like the illustrations, the branding, typography, colors. I don't think that the UX of this website is all that, but it leaves an impact when people see it. Everyone that saw this project was like, oh wow, that's so cool. And that's what I mean when I say I just needed like a few projects to really start the ball rolling. I was freelancing in parallel to my job hunt. Each project that I did, I added it to my portfolio as well. And lo and behold, I got my first job. Muse Studio is a Tel Avivian agency and I really want to shout them out because they are literally the best. For the first time in my life, I could work on very, very complex systems. We worked on health projects, AI, dev tools, you name it. That's my next tip for you. My dog's dying. Work for an agency. The amount of experience you will get from working at an agency that does so many projects, you will never get that experience from working at a corporate and only working on like 10% of the entire product. Choose a really good agency because Muse is like one of the best here in Israel. I help these startups raise money, and really that was the biggest accomplishment in my design career up until this point. And with success come opportunities. I was offered to join Tress Finance, which is a Tel Avivian based startup, and I joined there as a sole designer. And at that point of my career, it made sense for me to be a sole designer for a young startup, because if it was my first job, there are so many decisions that I had to make as a sole designer that, first of all, I wouldn't have the knowledge to do, and second of all, I'm sure I would make much more mistakes. And of course, we all make mistakes, we all make bad decisions. That's literally what my channel is about. I make fun of other designers' design choices. No shame, I just love to rant on apps. I stayed at Tress Finance for almost 1.5 years. This time around, finding a job was way easier than the first time. I can show you the current projects that are in my portfolio because I am signed on an NDA, but I can show you the general layout. And right off the bat, you can see the difference. It has much more personality. I wanted it to look friendly. I wanted it to look that I know what I'm talking about. The big bold font. I can only show you like the first 2 projects here. You're gonna notice that instead of having boring titles like I had in the last one, here each title has a purpose. So I'm not just saying the challenge, the persona, etc. I make it a bit more interesting for the users to have fun reading the case study itself. If you have photos of you actually working, it will be really great. And lastly, as you could see by now, I always love to have some kind of a video that shows the prototype, show how the system actually works, just because it's really hard to understand everything from only photos without videos. In the bottom, I wanted to add like icebreakers. I am confident enough to say what I'm looking for in my next job, what some of my hobbies. I also added like my about section, again, made it much more personal. But it was still challenges because I was very specific. I wanted to work for an American company. I wanted a big design team, and I wanted it to be fully remote. So I was extremely picky. I had the privilege to decline offers, who would have thought. It took me around 4 months to find my dream job at Chainlink Labs. I'm like so proud of myself. In just a few years, I could really like turn the tables around. That's what I'm saying. You just need to start the ball rolling. Great things will happen when you start walking. If you're still watching, first of all, thank you. I would love it if you could like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm a very new channel, so each like and subscribe and even comment really helps me a lot. I really hope this video helped you. If you want me to check out your portfolio, drop that link. I can give you my 2 cents and maybe give you some tips that can help you like improve and get your first job. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.